Hello, my friends. Very happy to be with you once more. This is supposed to be a Friday night. We're coming to you through the courtesy of Truth Be Told Radio Network. I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, and every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have a meeting. We have a little get-together, and you and I can sit and have a cup of tea and talk about health and disease and, the most important, health management. Because we want to live many years, but be very useful and enjoy those years. We don't want to be sick, we don't want to be bedridden, we don't want to be a burden to anyone, we just want to enjoy life. And the way to do it is by learning how to manage our health, how to manage all these resources that God gave us to be in good shape, to be healthy, to be productive, and so on. So remember, we have discussed many times, we have said it many times, health is a big asset. Nothing replaces health. Nothing is worth anything if you're not healthy. And very important for those of you that like numbers, it pays to be healthy. In other words, it is a big investment. It's the greatest asset you can have in your life is have a very healthy, productive body. Now, we have seen, particularly in the last couple of years, a number of very important threats that nobody saw coming, that nobody really thought they could disrupt our lives so much, much less that it would take the lives of many people that we love, many people that we enjoyed, and they're gone. And they're gone because they could not withstand the ravages of a very important epidemic that has come upon us. But I have discussed many times before that long before this happened, a very good friend of mine was always talking about the Spanish flu. And God, was she right. It is so similar what happened 100 years ago to what happened today that you say, yeah, we should have been better prepared. And she always talked about that. She always was discussing the possibility of this coming back again, of this happening once again. We have had, after all, very important pandemics in the world that have taken hundreds and thousands of lives, and we have to be ready. We have to learn what to do. We have to be prepared. We have to. The only way you can do it is by being a different you. I was listening to a very good health professional, and he was talking about the health conditions in the world. And yes, we have pollution, and yes, we have electromagnetic waves, and yes, we have bad foods, and yes, we have garbage and problems all around us. And he was just making one point that I think is very important. There's very little we can do to change all that. What can we do to change global warming or pollution is very little. I know that everyone can add to a big number. Nevertheless, what you and I can do is limited. And it's limited also by the actions and decisions of other people, other governments, other whatever. But there's something you can do. You cannot change that, but you can certainly change you. Because if we learn to change our body, if we learn to change our environment, if we learn to make it a lot more resilient and stronger, we're going to be able to face any health challenge that might come on our way, and we're going to be able to handle it. And that's what we're talking about every single week in this program. So I would love you to follow me. I'd love you to go to the social media of your choice, Twitter or Instagram, Facebook. You can also go to YouTube. We have a channel that shows a lot of information and resources in how to manage your health. Or you can go to Spotify and search for Truth Be Told Radio Network, and you're going to have more than 100 hours of programming in this type of a subject. My idea is that the more we talk about it, the more we know about it, the more attention we put on this subject, the better off we're going to be. Because we're going to be doing what this researcher was mentioning. I have a limited access to change the things around me, but I can change my body. I can change my body, the way my body responds, reacts, and solves health issues. Because we have a body that was made in perfection. So this body of ours, given the tools, given the nutrition, given the resources, it's going to be able to produce a very healthy response. It's going to be resilient and strong and prepared, in one word. So today I want to refer to a problem that's becoming major, really major. From my point of view, is reaching catastrophic levels. It's becoming very alarming. And it's becoming alarming not only because it's a very serious problem, but because it's growing in tendency in a way that it is a new pandemic. And what I hate the most about this problem is that this is a problem that it's 100% within our hands to manage it. All we have to do is to learn about it, think about it, and say, no, that will not happen to me. I'm talking about diabetes. If you look at the numbers, and it doesn't take too much, all you have to go to Google, or you can go to your computer and just look for the word diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and you can see, okay, how many people have the problem? How many people had it 20 years ago? How many people had it 50 years ago? When you look at the curve, you're going to be astounded, because if you go from, let's say, 1951 to 1980, you're going to see a very flat, very low level type of a problem. Yes, it was a disease. Yes, it created problems. Yes, it created serious problems, as it always has done it. But then all of a sudden, about the beginning of the 1980s, we started to have more cases the following year, and more cases the following year, and more cases the following year, and on and on and on and on, at a really staggering speed. See, really exponential growth, to the point that today in the world we have over 400,000 people with diabetes. This is almost 500 million people. 500 million people. Do you know how much we're spending? And I shouldn't say spending. When you spend money on something, you're getting something in return. No, how much money we're wasting just to keep ourselves together and living for a few more years, while at the same time we have to go to the doctor every so often and do laboratory every so often and prick our fingers every single day or more than once a day, because we want to see what is our sugar level, how our body is handling the sugar. And then on top of that, getting a lot of side effects that are really bad. Kidney disease, high blood pressure, obesity, you name it. And we can get to extremes where you have to amputate your leg because you have gangrene, because the blood is not flowing anymore. You go blind because your retina doesn't get enough blood. You go all wrong because your brain doesn't function well, and you cannot get out of bed, you cannot travel, you cannot go to a dinner, you cannot eat what you like. It's really a major problem. And on top of that, you're spending a lot of money every day just to keep yourself alive. Not lively, but at least alive. And everybody's going to have to be taking care of you, is going to try to help you, is going to be on your side, if you're lucky and you have a family that would look after you, but you might even be by yourself suffering with this disease that from the beginning was very surely preventable. Even if you have genetic load, you see, we cannot justify just genetics for diabetes because it has grown exponentially in only 50 years. How can a disease go from very low to epidemic proportions genetically? It can be happening. It is not possible. It's not mathematically possible. What's happening is that we are disrupting our genes. We are disrupting our bottom line physiology. We're disrupting our energy producing mechanisms without the body because we have done thing after thing after thing after thing wrong. Do you know why? Because we were very arrogant. We thought we had a body that was going to be able to cope with anything we did, that we got this body just to have fun, and that if anything went wrong, a doctor and a pill would take care of it. And none of that is true. We have to go to the drawing board. We have to go to very basic things. This is a body that was confided to us to be taken care of. And the only way you're going to do it well is if you are well trained. And it's never too late to begin. So get your family, get your friends, get your church members and say, let's talk about this. Because this is like the worst of the epidemics. You have diabetes today, and then tomorrow you hear about your neighbor, your co-worker, your church members, your aunt, your son. This is a never-ending epidemic. At least the other one seems to be going away, seems to be having an answer, a medical answer. But the other one is only getting worse and worse. So don't go anywhere. I want to talk with you very seriously about diabetes. My friends, I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, and today we're talking about diabetes. One word, terrible problem. Almost 500 million people have been diagnosed of diabetes in the world at this moment. So we have a lot of people that are suffering all the consequences of this disease. Let's jump to some important notions of what diabetes is. You know, we have a body that never ceases to amaze me, never ceases me to look at it and see how wonderful piece of machinery, of biochemical machinery, physiological machinery we have. It never ceases to amaze me. And it should amaze you too. What you can do with this body. How many things can we do? We get up in the morning and we have breakfast and we see our loved ones, and we go to work, and we talk to our friends, and then we go back home, and then we enjoy the evening, and we watch the news, and we talk to other people, and we go to church on Sunday, or we go to a brunch on Saturday. Nevertheless, you're spending very, very gratifying time. And that is possible because your body can take you from A to B. Because your body can think, can dream, can move. But all that is possible because we have a whole group of organs within ourselves that's going to produce everything we need. Energy, hormones, defense mechanism, police mechanisms to see what's misbehaving within the body, to see what happens with it, hormones that are going to let us grow and be productive, and everything. It's just a fantastic body. And all that helps to serve a very important organ. That's our brain. And we can see, and we can smell, and we can enjoy our environment, and we can listen to music or to birds. All that is fantastic. But all of that requires, like any function, a very well orchestrated, very well managed programming for energy production, for chemicals, for substances, for hormones, for cells that are going to help our immune system, for organs that are going to take the food from the outside and turn it into nutrients for our body, and produce everything the body needs and create energy, because like anything that moves, we have to spend some energy to move, to see, to talk, to dream. So all those functions are very important. Now let's concentrate in just one of them. Energy production. How do we do that? Well, we know that sunlight, which is the origin of all energy on Earth, sunlight will deliver a lot of energy to leaves, to plants. And then either we eat the plant directly, or we eat an animal that has consumed those products, so takes up the energy from those vegetables. Or we take it directly, or we have a piece of beef that ate the same type of substances. These substances come into the body, they're broken down, they're digested, they're finally absorbed into the bloodstream, and they go to different organs. One of the most important is going to be the liver. But in order to create the energy, we need those substances. At that point we have the fuel, but we don't have the energy. It's like the gasoline in your tank. You have the fuel, but you don't have the energy. You need the fuel to go to the engine of your car to be handled in such a way that's going to deliver the energy that's within the fuel. So anytime you burn or you oxidize a fuel substance, you obtain energy in return. The same energy that the sun invested in creating that substance, that's the energy you're going to get in your body. But in order to do that, you need those substances to enter each and every cell of the body. And then this fuel is going to be delivered to every single cell in the body through the blood. The blood system will bring red cells and blood cells and so forth, but in the fluid, it carries the glucose or the essential fatty acids, which are the main sources of energy in the body. These substances are going to enter the cell, they're going to go to the mitochondria, and they're going to be oxidized in order to release the energy that's in them. To do that, you have to have that glucose, that sugar, that energy substance, you need it to enter the cell. There's where there's a very important hormone that has a critical function in the body. That is insulin. Insulin is a substance produced in the pancreas, in the pancreatic tissue, that's going to be released in the blood, is going to circulate along all these fuel molecules, and it's going to help them to enter the cell. Now the cell has the fuel and can function. Now, this insulin, in a normal person, in a young person, in a person that has no problem, can do it very freely, can do it very, very nicely. So when you get these sugars and the insulin, they're going to be carried into the cell. Now, there are circumstances under which we cannot function very well. The number one cause is because we are delivering a lot of this fuel. We're putting so much of it in the blood that the insulin has problems to cope with all these things. I mean, we ate so much, particularly of the so-called refined carbohydrates that do not have to have a lot of digestive process. They're ready. They're ready to be used. So even from the minute you put refined sugar in your mouth, there's sugars coming into the blood because they're so refined, so pre-digested that your body doesn't have to do any effort. So they go in the blood, and they go in the blood in huge quantities. So the pancreas enters in a panic state, produces a lot of insulin, and when you finally think you're getting over with it, there comes another bunch of food. And yes, you guessed it, that food will contain again a lot of sugars, a lot of refined carbohydrates. It's going to be a cookie, it's going to be ice cream, it's going to be what we call comfort food. I don't know why we call it that way, but those foods that are very sugary, very refined flour, and very fatty. Ice cream is the perfect example. Cookies are the next one. So all these things, and we call it a snack. And people tell you, you know what, I take it because after a while I begin to feel weak. I feel like I need something. Yes, because you had so much food and then so much insulin that you not only got rid of the insulin in the blood, of the sugar in the blood, but you went a little bit on the other side, what we call hypoglycemia, low sugar. And that triggers the need to eat again. And there goes the pancreas again, there goes the insulin again. And once again, you took the wrong food in the wrong quantity. Have you had a good meal to begin with? The effort on your pancreas, the effort on the insulin would be very low, and you'd be able to cope with it and function normal. The way we function for thousands of years. Because once again, this problem began about 1980. And then is when we started using all these simple foods that were easy to buy, that were in a box, in a foil, that were tasty and salty and very appealing and cheap. But we were doing a very poor favor to our body, because in the effort to produce more and more and more and more insulin, we are going to fatigate. We're going to get our pancreatic system exhausted. And there's going to be a point where it will not be able to serve you anymore. It's like if you were asking your body to run and run and run and run, and there's a moment where you won't be able to do it. You're going to be exhausted. The same happens with your pancreas. The same happens with your insulin. So the amount of food, the frequency with which we eat, the quality, the very poor quality of the foods we ingest. We have no consideration. We just buy anything that's cheap in the corner store, in any shack we go by. And you buy it and you have it. And it's so easy, it's so convenient. You have your energy bar, you have your sweet at hand. So we keep eating it and keeping it and keep on eating it. That's not the way we were designed to function. So we start gaining weight, we start getting fat around the waistline, and then we start getting the worst part of the equation, which is we begin a chronic inflammation in every system of the body. From then on, nothing will be the same for you. Every single system is going to deteriorate. Every single system is going to suffer. Every single system is going to say, I give up. And then all the problems you never had because you were healthy begin to appear. Your kidneys, your eyes, your joints, your swellings, your pains. You just turn a great body into a piece of junk. My friends, I'm having a very good time with this conversation with you about diabetes. I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, and I really hope, I sincerely hope, that some of this message gets you and makes you think and reflect of all the damage that we can do by simple reaching to the wrong food in the wrong time, in the wrong amount. And that's very simple to do. It is so simple to do it wrongly that right now, at this point, we have almost 500 million people with diabetes worldwide. And the number is growing at a very fast pace. And something which is very important to mention, it's growing up a lot in places like the United States of America. I mean, we have the means, we have the education, we have a lot of possibilities to just be healthy. I don't have to tell you that America has been great in creating healthy people. All you have to do is look at the medal distribution every Olympic game. I mean, America gets them all. Yes, because we run faster, we jump higher, we go further. That means, yes, we know how to create a healthy individual. We know how to service a human body and bring it to its optimum. We can do it. We know how. So how is it that when I turn my face from the TV set and I'm watching 3 Americans on the podium, I look around and I see sick people, fat people, people getting a shot of insulin, people taking a pill for their diabetes, people saying they're on a diet when they're really not, and just getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And you're talking 1980 to now, you're talking about 50 years. In the last 50 years, we have managed to ruin, completely ruin, millions of lives through doing very simple but very dumb things. Eat too much, eat too frequent, eat the wrong foods. You can add to that that we have no organization whatsoever to eat. If you ask your grandmother, Mom, what were your eating habits when you were a kid? Your grandmother is going to tell you that they had breakfast at certain time, they had lunch at certain time, they ate dinner at certain time, and that they would take a snack this or this time. And the amounts they ate were not the amounts of food you eat. And of course the quality was completely different. There's nothing that prevents you from doing the same. And the only way you're going to do it is if you take it very seriously, and you say, I want to change. I want my family to change. At least for me and my immediate family, I'm responsible. And I want to be responsible. Not only that I have to, I want to. I want to be responsible. What can I do? I want you to follow me. I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez. I'm not going to charge you anything. My dream would be to guide you, to inspire you first, but guide you to better health. Because I know how. And many people like me know how. Otherwise, we would never win an Olympic medal. We would never put a man in the moon if we didn't know what health is all about. But we go to the doctor only when we're sick. We never go to the doctor to be healthy. We go to the doctor when we're sick. And the problem is the doctors themselves. Because you go to the doctor when you are not sick, and the doctor tells you you're fine, go home. Whenever you have a problem, come and see me. We never say, I'm happy you want to be healthier. Let me check everything out. Let me take a good look. Let me review everything. Let me see what's your genetic history. Let me see what is your upbringing. Let me see what illnesses you have had. So let's see what we can do better to keep you healthier. Doctors don't do that. They love to see sick people. I hate to see sick people. So I love when people ask me, Doctor, my mother is diabetic, and I am 50 years old, and this is my weight, and this is my height. What can I do? Because we all can do something. And all we need is somebody to tell us how. And don't take it very lightly. I don't want you to take it lightly. I want you to take it really seriously. I want to say, okay, I'm going to begin doing it. Where do I start? What do I have to do? There are ABCs that everybody knows, yet we don't follow them. We know we shouldn't eat sugar, refined sugar, white sugar. If we want anything sweet, we should go to a natural sweetener, like honey. Because artificial sweeteners, for many people, are worse than the real thing. And by artificial sweetener, I have to talk about fructose. Fructose is a completely unnatural sugar. And you're going to tell me, but doctor, I know that fructose is in fruit. That's why it is called fructose. Yes, but that's a different type of sugar, number one. Number two, it comes in very, very small amounts if you compare it to a glass of soda pop. They're using this fructose, and they're not using the fructose itself. It's called the high fructose syrup that is obtained from grains, mainly from corn, which is highly glycemic. You take it and it's in your blood in 2 seconds. And it raises the sugar level in your blood immediately. So it pushes the insulin to its limit. You're damaging your pancreas. When you have a spoonful of honey, it's going to go through your whole digestive system. It's going to be absorbed very slowly, and it's going to enter in small amounts. And it's going to be sweet, but it contains many different sugars, not only one. It's different sugars. And it has chromium in it. That's why honey is brownish. It's golden. If you see honey that's completely clear, run away from it. That's toxic. Actually, high fructose syrup is completely clear. Go away from it. If you buy, for example, glucose in the store, some cookie or cake store sell this syrup, it's completely clear. Go away from it. If you think of it, natural sugars are brownish, honey is brownish, wheat is brownish. All this, why? Because they contain chromium. God put chromium in every single carbohydrate that we eat. What do? We take it out because it's brown. You want white sugar, you want white flour, you want white everything. So you have to eat what God gave us to eat. Now, what the man in that factory is telling you to eat because it is a bigger profit for them. We're playing their game, and their game is money. They want profit. And you know, high fructose syrup is very cheap. Vegetable oils are very cheap. So they want to give you margarine, not butter, because high quality foods are more expensive. But then I always ask people, where you want to bring your money? To the market or to the pharmacy? If you don't eat well, you're going to end up paying all that money to the pharmacist, to the laboratory, to the X-ray department, to your doctor. It's better to go and buy a nice piece of salmon, a nice piece of good food, cod fish, free-range, high-quality poultry, and good quality eggs, etc. And then you're going to be healthier. And eat in reasonable amounts. So you have BioCare behind you. With BioCare, you can go to Facebook or Instagram or Twitter and ask questions. Doctor, I really think I want to do some of this. Where do I start? How do I start? Okay. I know I shouldn't have sugars. I know I shouldn't have white flour. I'm beginning to buy more organic, fresh, local foods. I'm beginning to go to my local farmer's market and learn more. There's a lot of wisdom in those places, a lot of people that know a lot of things. So you learn how to do it. You train your children from the beginning. Because many of us were trained the wrong way. And what can you do if you were taught to eat junk food? It's going to take you a lot of work. But you can do it. But don't do it to the people that come behind you. You teach them how to do it well. And if you begin doing that, you're going to be moving away from diabetes. Why? Because not only you're giving your body less effort, you can change the way your genes work. Genes, their presence or inactivity can be managed through lifestyle. So if we start making all these changes, even the genetic load for diabetes can be controlled. So don't go away. Stay with me. Let's talk one last segment about what else can we do. My dear friends, we've been talking about diabetes. We've been talking about a problem that seems unbeatable, that seems overwhelming, that seems that's going to take control of our lives, where many people think that in the next couple of decades, we're going to see it like you're diabetic and you're Latino or you're something. It's going to be just a common ID, general piece of ID, because there are going to be so many people with diabetes that we're going to have a real big problem. And you know, I really hate to turn on the TV and see all the advances in the management of diabetes. Oh, now we have this substance that you can put inside your body and it's going to automatically release the insulin. You know, we have this wonderful piece that has a chip that you can control it from your cell phone, and you can read the glucose level, and then you can do this and you can do the other. Come on! You know what? God gave me a much better piece of machinery, a much better computer, a much accurate system to do that. Because I never think of what is my glucose level. I never think of how much insulin I need in my blood. I never think of how much energy I have to deliver to every cell. I don't have to think of that. All that is built in. I have a body that was created in perfection. And He gave it to me and He said, here is your body. And here are the foods. Here are the plants and the animals and everything I have created for your nourishment. All I have to do is to be obedient. I thank you, God, for this body. And I thank you, God, for all these foods you have set on my table. I'm going to see what they are. I'm going to honor you. And if I do that, I'm going to be rewarded with good, long health. If I don't, well, I'm going to pay the price. Now, let me tell you something that has happened many times in my life. And actually, I'm very thankful for it. We all know, if you're really honest with yourself, you know that diet control and lifestyle control and all these things might not be easy for many of you. Perhaps you tell me, I have tried it many times, doctor. I have gone on a regime, I went to a gym, I did this, I did the other, only to find that few months or few weeks after, I just do it any longer, or I didn't see the results that I expected. So it might be that I'm just built this way. It might be that there is nothing I can do to change the way my body functions. Like being doomed. Well, it probably comes from my family, it probably comes from this, and we give up. And I have talked to many people that I really thank God they listen when I say, you know, and this is a very honest statement. This is a very, very honest statement. Getting control of your lifestyle in order to curb your weight gain, or even worse, metabolic effects of weight gain like diabetes, is not a do-it-yourself type of procedure. This is serious. It's like if you say, well, my car is having some little problem, it might need more pressure in the tires so that noise goes away, Or I might check the oil, oh my God, it needs oil, and do it. Sometimes you say, I don't know what it is. I don't know how to solve it. And then you go to the garage. You need a good mechanic to tell you what's going on. You need an expert's advice. And he tells you, you know what? You have to do this and this. Or, you know what? It can be fixed, but I need the car to be in the garage for 2-3 days. And then you're going to get a car that's very good, very functional. You're going to enjoy it for a long time. It only needs to do this. But to do that, it has to go to the garage for several days. Well, I have had people like that, where I say, you know what? You have failed many times because you don't know how. You need a kickstart. You need to say, I have to go to a place where everything is going to be controlled, where everything is going to be measured and evaluated, and when somebody is going to tell me, you know what, the problem with you is that you not only have this, but you are hypothyroid, or that you have this other problem here that can be fixed. See, I recently had a patient. This was a lady like 60 years old, and she comes in here and she checks in the hospital. She had seen doctors and internists, and to no avail. Her condition continued to go worse and worse and worse. So she comes to me, I check everything, and I said, you know, I have good and bad news for you. The bad news are that yes, you have a lot of problems. But the good news is that all of them have an answer. And an answer that's feasible, possible, inexpensive, and that is going to render great results. You're going to love what you see, because in spite of all the problems you have, you are going to be able to be helped very nicely. And one of the problems is that because you have many of them, even though they're small, you try to solve one through dieting, or you try to solve one through exercise, and you cannot really get to the point of getting better. And then you get disappointed, you get frustrated, because you're not fixing this and this and this. Now, here at BioCare Hospital, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and you're going to see how easy, but working all the problems at the same time, you're going to see the difference. And she did. She stayed at the hospital for 2.5 weeks. And when she left, believe me, she looked completely different. She had lost 12 pounds. A lot of that was swelling. That's why she lost it so fast. But she looked fantastic. She could move. She could everything. And then the day she left, she told me, you know what, doctor? I'm going to tell you what my life was like before coming here. I would get up in the morning, see how I felt, see how bad I felt, look at myself and see how bad I looked. And I thought, God, if this is the end, please just make it very short. And now I'm going back and I have a lot of plans, and I'm going to begin fixing my house, and I know that I can go for many more years. So many times you need an expert. Many times you need to turn the car to the garage. So all you have to do is think, okay, I have to book a BioCare Health Away episode in my life. I have to take few days. Instead of going on a vacation, instead of going to the Caribbean, instead of taking a cruise, I'm going to go to BioCare. And I'm going to spend a couple of weeks working on myself, doing stem cell therapy, anti-inflammatory procedures, checking every single function that they can fix, my immune system, my hormonal system. It's not all about food. Because many times all these problems bring different problems. And once all of them are together, you try to fix one to no avail. Because you have so many other problems. You don't feel better, you don't function well, so you get frustrated and you give up. I don't want you to give up. I want you to say, the next time I can book 2 weeks out of my life. Instead of spending my money, instead of spending my time doing something fun, I'm going to check at BioCare. I'm going to call them, I'm going to ask questions. All of them are free of charge. You can ask all the questions you want. You can send me all the medical information you want. We review everything, we tell you what to do. And then you say, I'm going to go to the hospital. I'm going to spend those 2 weeks. It's a very nice, very pleasant, very friendly environment. I have to tell you, I have a very lovely, caring staff. And very skillful too. They're very good at what they do, but they have a big heart. They have a lot of compassion. They will understand you. Some of them have gone through what you're going through. Some of their family members have gone through the same thing you're going through. So they're very understanding. They're helpful. We really go out of our way to accomplish what you need to do. So all you have to do is look at your calendar, check the dates, start making the calls and say, I'm going to have to take a BioCare health getaway for preventive medicine, for corrective medicine. Because once you start in that route, on very solid grounds, then you're going to see results. Then you're going to feel them. And you know what? Everybody else is going to notice. I have had many people throughout the years when I say, don't believe me, believe your family, believe your coworkers, believe your church members when they tell you how much better you look, how good you look today. Particularly if we compare it to the day you arrive. Many people do cosmetic surgery and spend money doing something that's going to take just care of your looks. Well, if you do this, you're going to look good, but you are going to be well. So this is an unbeatable trade. Let's do it.